Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and welcome to Soft Flow Yoga. Our practice today is called 4 Forward Folds. Yes, so this practice actually will feature a particular posture. There's actually 4 versions of this posture. It's a wide-legged forward fold. We've done this in Soft Flow before, but I'm just going to highlight them today in this class. In Sanskrit, it is Prasarita, Paddottanasana, and there's A, B, C, and D. So there's 4 versions of this pose. Again, it's just a translation of 4-legged forward fold. And so yes, it will involve our legs. It also involves our hips, our spine, our core, and our shoulders. So it is a complete workout. All right, let's begin our practice. We're going to start in seated, of course. So do find something soft to sit on, like a blanket or towel, and be sure you have your other props nearby. You might have a couple of yoga blocks. I've got mine here, and maybe a big pillow like a yoga bolster. Just want to sit up nice and tall. You might start with a few deep breaths. Nice full breath in and exhale. Do that again. Nice full breath in and exhale. And just settle into the slow, steady breaths. Breathing in and out, connecting with your breath as you take this journey inward. This is our silent breathing meditation. Just to tune into your body. Notice how you're feeling at this moment. To become fully present, connected, and aware. And that breath flow with this intentional breathing really does bring us to the present moment. So as you're able, breathe in a way where you can feel your breath and listen to the sound of your breath. You can do this with your eyes opened. Maybe you're just taking a soft gaze forward or even down at the ground. Or you can just close your eyes as you continue this journey inward. Slow, steady breaths. Good. Just to bring more awareness and attention to your breathing. As you're able, inhale and extend or feel the breath extend and lift up to expand through your lungs. Exhale completely, drawing your belly button in towards your spine. Again, as you inhale, just feel the extension of your spine. Feel the breath rising, filling up your lungs. And exhale, draw belly button in towards your spine. Just a little pulling action. Doesn't have to be too forced as you're pulling inward and you're actually engaging the abdominal lock or a light engagement of your abdominal muscles, a little contraction there. It's a good way to support your whole system, your torso, and of course the rest of your body. Again, a nice full breath in, fill up your lungs. Exhale, connect to your center. And just keep breathing like this a few more times. And we'll add our movement. Nice. When you're ready, inhale and extend your arms out and all the way up. A nice stretch as you reach for the ceiling. And exhale, extend your arms out and back down by your side. Let's keep going. When you're ready, inhale, extend your arms out, reaching across the room as if you're going to touch the walls on either side of you, and then up towards the ceiling. Exhale with good energy through your hands and fingertips, reach out, and then all the way down, completing another round of breath. And just continue on your own now. Breathe and move at your own pace. Reaching up, feel the lengthening of your arms, the lengthening through the sides of your body. Notice the mobility in your shoulders. Pay attention to your shoulders for a breath or two, since we will be focusing a bit on our shoulders. Very good. Keep breathing, keep moving. Now finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. And when you're complete, just bring your arms back down, let them rest by your side or even just in your lap. And just come to stillness here. Still seated nice and tall, just bring your hands behind you, perhaps just prop yourself up onto your fingertips, so it just makes your arms longer. And as you naturally bring your arms back, it also draws the shoulders back, but we're going to emphasize that a little bit more. So the hands are behind you, and then you'll tip your chin up just a little bit. Now, as you inhale, just press into the floor with the fingers, feel the straightening of your arms, and as you, again, breathe in, fill up your lungs. Nice expansive feeling. They might even fill up more. Exhale, pull your belly button in towards your spine as we did earlier. Again, press into the floor as you inhale with the fingers. Feel the energy shoot up your arms, breath rising, filling your lungs. Exhale, pull belly button in and squeezing the shoulder blades together behind you. You're just really continuing to draw the shoulders back, opening up through your heart. You'll hear me say sometimes, feel your shoulders draw back behind your heart. Take 2 more breaths here in this mild back bend with our energized arms and rolled back shoulders. And then just lower your chin, walk your hands toward yourself so you're sitting up nice and tall like so. Now we'll take a forward fold. So if your legs are crossed, we're just going to uncross the legs and just place the soles of the feet together here for cobbler's pose. Now it's okay if there's space between the knees and the ground here. This is where your props will come in handy. So this could be your yoga blocks. This could also be some hardbound books or even some soft small pillows. I'm just going to tuck them underneath the legs so the legs actually rest here without any engagement. And then just holding on to your toes, feet, ankles, or your shins. Perhaps your shins, because you might find that you can sit up nice and tall here. So we'll inhale, feel the lengthening of the spine. Exhale, pull belly button in and start to hinge forward, leading with your heart and your chin just slightly here. Even change the grip on your body to help hold you in place. Now, inhale, lengthening through the spine at this new angle. Exhale, pull belly button in. Hinge forward a little bit more. I'm just going to scoop up my toes and just hold here for a couple of breaths. Now what you may feel along with the extended spine is a little stretch in the inner legs. If you want a little bit more without feeling forced into this posture, just hinge forward a tiny bit more. Also feel free to lower your chin a little bit and round your back. Now that might allow you to go a little deeper without feeling like you're forcing yourself into the pose. We certainly don't want to hurt or harm ourselves in this practice or any practice. Yes, this is a soft flow practice. We typically take things slower. Even in a faster moving power yoga class, for example, you still want to take your time and be fully aware of how your body feels as you move in and out of poses. Let's take 3 more breaths here. When you're ready to come out of your posture, if your back is rounded and your chin is lowered, just lift the chin a little bit to re-extend the spine. Alrighty, then hinge your way back up nice and tall. There we are. Hold here for a moment, completing our little back bend and our forward fold. All right, let's move our props out of the way here. I'm going to swing around and come to hands and knees. And using the blanket or a towel or even doubling up on your mat, I'm going to make a nice pad here. I'm just going to unfold my blanket. There we go. And on hands and knees. Cat and cow. So it starts with cow pose, which is a nice flow. We'll inhale, feel the pelvis tip back. We create a little back bend or an arched back. The belly drops down towards the ground. And just lift your chin slightly. Feel like you're sending your heart forward. Be sure your arms are straight, pressing hands into the ground. That's the inhale for cow. Exhale, starting with the back end, tuck underneath. Feel the pelvis tuck under. Belly button pulls up towards your spine. Let the back round and chin comes to chest. That's cat. I like to break these down. Inhale, tip pelvis back. Arch your back, belly drops, heart opens, look forward. Exhale, tuck pelvis under, rounding the spine, chin to chest. And then just continue to flow with ease through these two poses. Cow pose with the inhale. Exhale into cat pose. Feel this wonderful undulation of the spine. Part of our work today is core and spine. Now, I did mention 4 forward folds. So yes, that does involve our legs per se, but it also involves other parts of the body. Now, finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. When you're complete, just come to a neutral tabletop posture. Just hold for a moment. Now this pose can certainly put a little strain in the wrists. It can fatigue the wrists. So I like to take a little break. I like to tuck the toes under and sit back a little bit, which into what I call half hero. Walk the hands towards self until I can lift my hands off the floor. And then just a little counter pose, because they've been doing a forced flex like this. Just flip them down. Or what I like to do is actually circle the wrists, wiggle the fingers. That's it. Just to help relieve that tension that sometimes develops in the wrists here. All right, go ahead and crawl off of your pad, our blanket or towel. We'll set that to the side. Return to hands and knees. And then let's step the hands forward slightly so they're out from underneath the shoulders. And as you do so, spread out your fingers pretty wide here, creating a nice strong base. Then tuck your toes under. We'll do another cat-cow flow. So inhale, tip chin up. There's our cow, a little back bend feel. Then exhale, round it out into cat pose. Hold cat pose. While here, make sure your toes are tucked. Lift your knees off the mat and send your hips up into the air. Meanwhile, your chest kind of sinks down between the arms. Now you may need to adjust your feet a little bit on your mat and even your hands. I like to take my hands slightly wider on my mat. Even bend your knees a little bit more or a lot more and send your hips up into the air and see how it allows the spine to lengthen more and sink the chest a bit more. Holding here. Then take a few steps forward with your feet until they're at the center of your mat, just being sure your feet are flat on your mat, and then slide your fingertips toward your toes. Holding for a few seconds here in our standing forward fold. So this is one forward fold, but it's not part of the series that we're doing. That's coming a little bit later. These are just our warm-ups. Now shift your weight back into your heels a little bit. Bend your knees to lower your hips. Meanwhile, maybe walk your hands up to your knees or thighs to extend your spine, coming up to about a 45-degree angle. Then take your arms out to the side. We're going to stand up nice and tall. Reach up into the air. Big stretch. Then exhale, arms come down to your side. So we've made it to our first standing position. We're in mountain pose. Let's just kind of get repositioned here. There we are, mountain pose. Good. Now let's go through that same sequence again. We're just going to take a forward fold and come back up. We are going to pause in our forward fold. So we're starting that nice stretch sensation in our hamstrings since we are focusing primarily on legs today. All right, I'm just going to stand near the top of the mat. And inhale, extend the arms up into the air. Exhale, spread your wings out to the side. Bend your knees and sit back into an imaginary chair. Let the hands come down maybe to knees or thighs. Keep folding, just sliding down the shins, slowly coming down, keeping the knees very bent. Let the back round. You might even let your head and neck drop. Let them relax. And then inhale, slide your hands up to the shins or knees. Holding here for a moment, so we've created this nice tabletop effect with the body. Now be sure your feet feel solid on the ground, you feel balanced. We are maintaining that good bend in the knees. You might even feel some good engagement in the legs. And here's a lengthening of the torso and spine. Let's walk the hands up to the thighs, lean a little bit back into the heels so you can tap your toes, push into your thighs to help you stand up. And then once you're tall, you can free your hands and take the arms back up into the air. Then exhale, arms return down to your side. Now that we're back in standing, let's take a moment to get some big movements in the shoulders. So circle your shoulders back a few times, right up to the ears and back and down, and then forward a few times like so. Okay. Remember, part of our work today is shoulders. All right, let's move through a sun salutation broken down like we do in soft flow. Mountain pose to begin, standing near the top of your mat. Nice long neck looking directly forward. Gently roll the shoulders back and down. And your arms are generally just relaxed down by your side. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the air. And exhale, hinging at the hips. Sitting back, bend your knees and carefully fold, making your way down towards toes. Let everything release here at the end. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees, re-extending your spine, long, flat back. This exhale, we're sliding back down the legs. Bend your knees a whole lot more. Let your back round. So you can bring your hands to the floor out in front of you and start walking your feet back to the back end of your mat. And then draw a straight line. I'm just kind of shifting forward, lowering the hips, still maintaining a nice flat back. Another kind of tabletop posture. Let's breathe in. Exhale, bend your knees a little, send your hips into the air, moving into down dog. Here you may need to adjust the feet. I like to tiptoe forward slightly, and then take my hands a little bit wider on the mat. From here, step your left foot to center on your mat to help stabilize and balance your body as we now inhale and pick up right foot and extend the right leg back behind you. Reach like so, straight line. As you exhale, bend your right knee, bring the right knee in underneath you as you shift your whole upper body forward so your shoulders are over your wrists, and just set your right foot down. Doesn't matter where it lands. Keep the heel lifted and set the left knee onto the floor. The weight is in your hands, so pull back to release some of that weight. Free your right hand. Go get your right foot, just picking up with the ankle, and step it up a little higher on your mat. And then replant the right hand. Relift the left knee. So we're putting some good space between the feet here. You're going to turn this left leg out, okay? So the toes are going to point outward, heel to the floor. There's still a lot of weight forward, so I like to step the hands back, pull the hips back. I'm just finding my center. And before I rise up, I want to be sure this right knee is bent. The knee and toes are pointing forward, so make any adjustments there. And then climb up the body. Come up to your thigh with the hands, re-extending the spine, just like so. Remember to put a little bit more weight and pressure in that back foot for stabilization. And then continue to rise up until you're nice and tall. We're going to take the arms out and up into the air. Good reaching sensation, and then a bit of a lunge to finish. All right, a couple breaths here with the arms straight up, but then we're going to relax the shoulders for a moment. So we can kind of work from the feet all the way up. Okay, go ahead and relax the arms. Let's check in with the foundation. Your feet, right foot pointing forward, toes pointing forward. That back leg and foot slightly turned out, okay? And the whole outside edge of your foot really pressing into the floor so you have a solid foundation. Working up the body. Right knee bent, also pointing forward. Okay, left knee slightly bent. Okay, this left leg is actually slightly turning outward. Now the upper body from the waistline up feel very tall, and even feel like you can turn to face forward. As we turn the torso this way, with the left leg opening up the other way, we get a slight twist and a little pull or stretch sensation through the hip flexor. We want that, okay? And even just take your hand, maybe at the top, the bottom of the rib, the bottom rib, and just kind of slide down and just notice that sensation, okay? But also what it feels like as far as the body, kind of smooth perhaps as it runs down. Let's go to the upper body. So let's go ahead and inhale and re-extend the arms up into the air. Okay, and shoulders, of course, allowing for that arm extension. Inhale. Now on the exhale, just turn your torso now towards the left side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. Right there. Reach, hold for a moment as you arrive in the posture. Again, we're just going to relax the arms here for a moment. Now this right leg should be in the same spot. If the right knee dipped to the inside, you probably can't see what I just did. I just really turned and dropped my knee in. Okay, if I turn towards you, okay? So just being aware, did your knee do this? We want to make sure the right knee is still pointing forward. So there's a sensation of the outer right thigh moving to the right side of the room to maintain this position as you open up, okay? Now this back foot, it was probably kind of turned in, but in Warrior 2, you might need to turn it out even more. All right, so we have a nice wide stance, nice tall torso. Let's re-extend the arms out to parallel. Now I'm having us hold these two postures a little bit longer because it is leg work. You're feeling the stretch and the strength. All right, so a little bit more. We're going to shift forward slightly here, angled upper body. Rotate the arms so your right hand's reaching down. Just bring it to the inner leg and just give it a little nudge, feeling like you're still sending the right knee and thigh to the wall behind you. Meanwhile, left arm is reaching straight up into the air. We're going to maintain this lunge for a little bit longer. Inhale, reach high and low. The exhale, bring this left arm down. Flip the palm so it's facing the back of the room. Bend the elbow, I call that a scarecrow. And then take the hand to your low back, right here, or even your left hip, right here. Now I want to check in to see if we've got some shoulder mobility. Like I said earlier, we're going to take the shoulder, roll it back, and send it behind the heart. Shoulder behind the heart. And this is what I call a side angle pose with a mild bind. This left hand behind us. Okay. Inhale, let's re-extend the left arm up into the air. And you'll see how the palm flips to the front. It's a rotation in the shoulder, which is allowing that to happen. And there's our pose. And we'll just carefully turn. Bring hands to thighs. Even a little lunge forward, getting a little bit more weight forward. As you're able, come up onto your tiptoes. What you may need to do is kind of step forward a little bit and then turn this leg in so you're on your toes like that. And then continue to fold. Just kind of slide down the leg. Hands to the floor. Push. Strong hands and arms so you can take the weight away from that right foot. Slide it back. Plank. Bend your knees, send your hips into the air. Downward facing dog. Make your adjustments with your feet and your hands. Settle into the pose. All right, we went really slow with that progression on purpose. And we're going to do the same for the other side. So now we're stepping the right foot to center of the mat for stability and strength. Inhale, pick up left foot and extend the left leg back. As you exhale, bend the left knee. Bring the left knee in underneath you towards your chest as you shift your whole upper body forward, shoulders over wrist. Set the left foot down or just your toes. Keep the heel lifted. Send your right knee to the floor. Pull the weight back so you can free your left hand. Let's go pick up the left foot from the ankle and send the foot higher up onto the mat. We'll re-lift the right knee. So we have this nice lunge. The weight is still forward. Let's plant that back heel. So the right leg is going to turn out. Push the heel into the floor. Walk your hands back a bit. Pull your hips up and back. Let's check in with the legs here. Left knee is bent. Toes are pointing forward. Remember, we're going to keep that alignment throughout. Let's climb up the leg. Hands on thigh. Push into the thigh. That's going to help you to kind of what I call telescope the spine. Lengthen through the torso. And then you can rise up perpendicular to the floor. Arms reach up into the air. Reach high, lunge low. Hold for a breath or two. We've arrived in our Warrior One pose. And then we'll check in. just as we did with the other foot. Let's go ahead and relax the arms for a moment. Let's check in. Toes in front, left toes pointing forward. Check. Right leg or foot planted into the floor, outside edge of the foot pressing into the floor. Check. Knee, left knee pointing forward just as your toes are. Remember, this is going to stay just like this. The right knee slightly bent. Legs. Okay, this right leg is actually kind of turning out. We're getting a little stretch through the right hip flexor. Remember, we want to get nice and tall and even turn the torso away from this right leg. Okay, and it creates a little twist, but it'll pull and stretch through the right hip flexor. Right hand right at the bottom of the rib cage, slide down past the belt line into the upper thigh. Okay, so you can just feel that smoothness there as it stretches and pulls. Upper body, inhale, take the arms up. Hold here on the exhale. Remember, the shoulders are allowing the arms to rise. Inhale, we're ready to open this up with an exhale to warrior two. So turn your torso towards the right side of the room. Be sure your left knee didn't go anywhere. Feel like your thigh is moving to the opposite wall, but turning sideways and your arms come down to parallel. Reach and hold. Okay, then lower the arms just to relax. Legs are getting strong since we're holding here. Remember, just check in to see if that left knee dipped to the inside. We're going to keep it opening, feeling like your knee and thigh are moving to the outside of your mat there. Nice lunge. Okay, this back foot, if you needed to, just turning out. A little bit more natural sensation through the hip, knee, and ankle joints there. Torso is tall. Outstretched arms are parallel to the floor. But now we shift, reach forward to angle the upper half of the body. Let's bring this left arm down, maybe just the hand, to the inner leg. Give it a little nudge, pushing it to the other wall. Meanwhile, right arm is reaching straight up into the air, creating this nice opening through the chest and hips. Now we're going to bring this right arm down. This is some shoulder work. Here, spin the arm rotates inward so your palm is facing the back of the room. Scarecrow the arm by bending elbow and then bring the hand to your low back. There. And then finding mobility in the shoulder, let's roll the shoulder back so it's behind the heart. Okay, so here's our side angle pose with a mild bind. A couple of breaths. So we really broke down that pose. All right, I'm going to free up the hand and arm, reopen the arm, feel that rotation in the shoulder, and maybe palm coming up into the air. And we'll turn and bring the hands to the thigh, pushing into thigh to extend the spine. But I'm shifting forward so I'm getting weight into this front foot. Now, if there's a lot of distance between the feet, you might want to maybe step the right foot closer so it's easier for you to rise up onto your tiptoes. So the leg is turning inward there. And send the arms out and bring the hands to the floor. Push firmly into the floor with the hands. Strong arms. If your body's sinking, lift the hips. That'll help you to slide the left foot back, and we're back into our plank pose. Hold. Bend the knees a little bit. Send your hips into the air. Adjust your feet and hands. We've returned to downward facing dog. And then take several steps up to the center of your mat or near the top of your mat. Again, just being sure your feet are underneath you. Slide your fingertips toward your toes. Hold here. Relax your head, neck, and shoulders for a moment. So we've returned to a standing forward fold, getting this nice stretch through the legs. Again, it's okay if the knees are bent. We're shifting the weight into the heels. Walk up the legs up to your thigh. Push into thigh to extend spine. Come up to here, flat back, but at a 45-degree angle. Hopefully you've got some balance here. And extend the arms out to the side. And then standing up nice and tall, reach for the ceiling. Another nice big stretch. Then exhale, arms return down to your side. Very good. Let's do another circle of the shoulders. Well done with that leg work. That's really just kind of energizing things and getting ready for our 4 forward folds. Okay, I'm going to turn this way. Let's get into some more shoulder work here. Now, inhale, extend the arms into the air. Exhale, just bring your arms down, but as you bring them down, bring them behind you like so, and reach back to the back corners of your mat. So active hands, straight arms right here. Neck is neutral, looking directly forward. Now let's just add on a little bit. Now you can keep your hands just like this if this feels best, but if you want to give it a try, bring your hands completely behind you and interlace your fingers, and then send your knuckles towards the floor, straighten the arms a little bit. If you can get to this point, let's continue to get the shoulders well behind the heart. Roll the shoulders back and then squeeze shoulder blades together. Sometimes I like to say, imagine you've got a pencil right up and down your spine, and you're just pulling the shoulders back and squeezing to center to hold on to that pencil. Remember, the neck is neutral here, but then just tip the chin up a little bit, not much. Then bend your knees, let them jet forward. While you're here, breathe in, fill up your lungs, like your lungs or chest is trying to lift and expand. Exhale, we're going to tip forward slightly and just end here. What we want to pay attention to is fingers and hands. If you can interlace the fingers, keep them folded, but just lift a little bit away from your body. If this is too much sensation in your elbow or shoulder joints, release the hands and just reach back. The other thing to pay attention to is we're at an angle with the upper body. We're keeping the spine straight, but also that involves your neck. So just be sure you're not looking up too high and certainly not looking down too low, but just finding that neutrality. So the spine is in the same alignment as the rest of the spine. Let's go ahead and stand up again. Push into the floor, straighten your legs, free your hands. Inhale, take both arms up into the air. Exhale, arms down to your side. Now here you may want to wiggle your fingers, circle your wrists, get into your elbows and the shoulders, just getting to all those joints. So they were kind of confined when your arms were behind you like that. Very good. Alrighty, now we're getting a bit closer to those 4 forward folds. Not quite there yet. Still warming things up. All right, back to the top of the mat. We're going to make our way down to the earth. Here we go. Inhale, extend the arms straight up into the air. As you exhale, take your arms out to the side like you're spreading your wings. Bend your knees, sit back into that imaginary seat, keeping the back flat initially. But then as you lower your arms, lower your head, your back rounds, maybe you're able to touch your toes or just get close to your toes. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees, extending your spine. There's our flat back. This exhale, slide back down the legs, lower yourself, bend the knees a whole lot, hands to the floor, and step the feet back. Take as many steps as you need to. Plank pose. Draw that straight line. Just lower your hips until they're about shoulder level. Hold for a moment here, good strength building, and then we'll send the knees to the floor. Just gently kneel down. We're going to sit back briefly into hero. And as you're sitting back, I'm just going to make sure my blocks are right at the center of my mat here on the side, and then slide off to the side. Swing the legs around to the front, and make sure you have space out in front of you for straight legs. Alrighty, so another nice leg stretch here. Let's keep the legs as straight as possible, but if you do need to bend the knees, that's fine. Do flex your feet. That just keeps the legs stable and energized. And then place your hands on the floor by your hips. Push into the floor to help lift and extend your spine. And look directly forward. So you have a nice L shape in your body, a 90-degree angle. Now, as you're able to maintain this good height and length through the upper body, inhale, reach both arms straight up into the air. Exhale, hinge forward a little bit, and then just bring your hands down to your legs. It doesn't matter where they land. Right here is good. Inhale, keep extending the spine. You're at a slight angle. As you exhale, you're going to take a step down the legs and hinge forward a bit more. Now, this might be the end of your pose, which is perfect. This could potentially be the end for me. because my legs are really straight, spine is straight, neck is in the same alignment as the spine. I feel this. But if you need to soften things up a little bit, be sure to bend the knees. It's perfectly fine to bend your knees. You can even lower your chin a little bit and round a little bit. This doesn't compromise the pose at all, and it certainly doesn't put any extra pressure on the body, which is perfect. We're going to hold here for a few more breaths so the legs can get their nice natural stretch. We can take some deep breaths here. If your back is rounded, you might even feel your back expand with the inhale. As you exhale, you might pull belly button in towards the spine just to keep that engagement. We're doing some wonderful warm-up work for our 4 forward folds. Good leg stretches. And remember, I talked about this also involves your hips, spine, and shoulders. So we've done some spinal work, just making sure it's nice and straight. In some cases, in this case, it's rounded. Your shoulders, we've done some shoulder work. Now let's get into our core a little bit more and our hips. Okay, let's bring the hands, walk the hands up to your knees or thighs, and then re-extend the spine, lifting. You might even place your hands on the floor. By your hips, press to get that lift. Roll shoulders back, squeeze shoulder blades together, engaging the upper back. Just squeeze that imaginary pencil. And there's our nice L shape. Soften a little bit, and let's do a little core work here. What we'll do is bend the knees like so. Keep the heels on the floor and feet flexed. Hold on to the backs of the knees or just underneath the legs, and use that as a leverage to lift yourself up until you're straight up and down. Okay, just be aware if you feel rounded or collapsed in your back. Lift yourself up. Inhale to grow tall, like there's a string coming out of the top of your head. Exhale through the mouth, and then pull the belly button in. That will engage your core, and then just lean back a little bit. We're just putting a little extra tension on our core system. I'm going to inhale, keep that extension through the spine, now angling back a bit like this. Then exhale, I'm going to lean back a little bit more. And I'm really feeling much more in the core. I'm going to stay here. Now in other classes, we would lift the feet off the floor and even start straightening the legs. But I want to see if you're able to sit here a little longer, and you might be able to simply because your heels are on the floor, your knees are bent, and you're holding on to maintain the length of the spine with that slight tension in your abdominal system. 2 more breaths. And then we can relax. All right, from here we're going to lie down and get into a back bend. So scoot forward so you're sitting in the center of your mat. You really just want some room behind you. Roll down onto your back and bring your knees with you here. Just lie flat here for a moment. Add some movement. What I like to do is some circles and then some figure 8s. That just feels good for me. You can just rock side to side or circles or even forward and back. Then also get into your feet here too. I had you pay attention to your feet for good alignment and balance for some of our standing poses. You can flex your feet and point your toes, and if you can, wiggle your toes. Now we're going to plant the feet into the floor. I like to take my feet a little bit wider than my hips. Make sure you've got a block or 2 in hand. I'm going to use both my blocks, I think, because they're kind of thin. Inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale through your mouth. Feel the air leave your belly. Feel the engagement in your center so you can lift your hips just high enough to slide your props underneath you, your books or your blocks or a big cushion, and then sit. And then just adjust your feet. And I'm also getting my shoulders slightly underneath the body. So it's another great sensation of feeling the shoulders getting behind the heart. Okay? In this case, it's somewhat underneath your heart since we're facing upward. And you can just kind of relax here for a moment. But what this does is just creates a nice light stretch through the front body. You don't have to engage too much to stay lifted. But we are going to do we'll do 2 lifts off of the block just so you can feel the change in the legs as they engage. Because right now, they're probably not as engaged as they could be. Let's just take 2 more breaths here. All right, now we'll take a nice full breath in as you prepare your body to move. As you exhale, blow it out the mouth. Towards the end of that exhale, press feet into the floor. Lift your hips off your props there. Count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then lower your way back down onto the blocks. Now, when you lifted, you might have felt the glutes and hamstrings engage, maybe even your thighs. Let's do it again one more time. Inhale first, fill up your lungs. Exhale through the mouth. Towards the end of that exhale, lift the hips. Feel the engagement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now take your seat. Relax for a moment. We're going to lift one more time, but only to remove the blocks. Here we go. Lift, move your blocks, and then come down. And once you're down, go ahead and extend your legs out front and reach your arms behind you. Nice stretch there. All right, let's bend the knees. You can even hug your knees into your body, catch them in your hands, roll to one side, and then press yourself up to seated. Okay, and just kind of take a quick moment here. Let's do one more hip opener. We've already done this, but just going to do a quick repeat. Okay, again, getting into the hips, cobbler's pose. Now I'm just facing you. Before I was facing sideways. So the soles of the feet touching. Knees might be away from the floor. You just use some blocks or pillows here. Hold on to your ankle shins or feet to sit up nice and tall. I'm going to hold on to my feet this time. But I am sitting up nice and tall, well extended spine. Just for a few breaths, just feeling that nice stretch in the inner legs. All right, so our next series of movements will now be those 4 forward folds. We're going to do 2 in one direction and then 2 in the other direction, meaning we're going to go through some sun salutations first, get into those new poses. So just follow me, I'll guide you. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Good. Let's soften the body. Now, with your books or blocks, what I might suggest is taking them one, if you have 2, have one on either side of your mat. Okay? Now, I'm going to be turning my body a little bit, I think. Let me see. Do I want to do it this way? No, you know what? You want to do it another way. Actually, have one block near the top, and then maybe one back here. I think that will work. We'll see. If not, that's okay. Just like that. I'm going to put mine in different places. All right, we're going to cross legs. Actually, yeah, cross legs. Hands in front if you can. Let's get the feet back behind us. Or if you need to, just lean to one side and just swing the legs around. So we're on our hands and knees. We're in cat, cow, flow setup. Inhale, tip the chin up, arching the back. Exhale, round, and just do that 2 more times. There we are. And just come back to a neutral position. Step your hands forward slightly, spread out your fingers. We're getting set up to return to downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under, do one more cow. That's your inhale. Exhale into cat. Push hands into the floor, tuck your toes, lift your knees. Send your hips into the air. Make adjustments with your feet and hands. There we are. I think our blocks are in the right spot. So you have one on either side of your mat, and I just happen to have one near the top and then one near the back. It doesn't matter where they are actually, just on the side of your mat. Now, same thing to get set up. I'm going to step my left foot to center to balance. Pick up right foot. Inhale, extend right leg back behind you. This exhale, I'm bending the knee, sending my right foot forward.
If you're able to get the foot closer up towards the hand, do that, or do the series that we did earlier to pick up your foot to get it there. I'm going to turn the left heel to the floor behind, walk the hands back, making sure there's good pressure and weight in that back foot. I'm climbing up the leg again, right here. Checking in, knee and toes pointing forward, nicely extended spine, back foot planted firmly into the floor. Inhale, rise up nice and tall, reaching both arms up. This exhale, turn towards the left side of the room. Arms come down to parallel. Be sure your right knee and toes are still pointing forward. And I'm just going to adjust this back foot. All right, so we arrived in Warrior 2. Now let's get into some new things here. We're going to straighten the right leg. Okay, so getting out of that bent knee, extending the leg here, and I'm going to turn so my toes are pointing forward. Now you're going to probably be facing the side of the room, and that's perfect. Okay, but you're going to have this star shape just like this, and you should have a block, okay, out in front of you. It's probably going to be off to one side, but it's off the mat, but it's out in front of you. Okay, let's go ahead and relax the arms here for a moment. Now I'm going to turn sideways, okay? I'm going to turn this way, just like this. So you can just kind of see what's going to happen with the upper body. So we are going to do a fold, a forward fold. And this is a wide-legged forward fold. So this is the very first version of our Prasarita Paddottanasana A. We'll start with the arms out to the side. Inhale, reach out. Feel tall at the same time. As you exhale, engage your core. Pull belly button in. Bend your knees for back safety. And then carefully fold. Bringing the arms and hands out front. Folding and bring in the block. Wherever it is, bring in your block. Mine's up here. So I'm bringing my block in. You may not need the block. Maybe you can reach the floor just by bending your knees. And then with fingertips on the floor or your block, push into the floor, straightening the arms, but extend the spine so it's straight out. And then exhale, fold a little bit more. Okay? Now with this first version of this wide-legged forward fold, we feel the hamstring stretch, but you're also affecting the outer legs and inner legs, and still okay to keep the knees bent. The back is rounded, even relax your head. You might even be able to see the wall on the other side of you. This is A. Now, press into the floor with the fingers, straightening the arms, extending the spine so it's nice and flat. Now, this is how I like to get out of this pose. Even bring your hands up onto the block just to give you a little bit more height, like so. Leaning back into the heels, tapping the toes, bend your knees, drop the hips. Make sure your hips are pushed back, spine is very straight. Hopefully you can free your hands and take them out to the side. I call them airplane wings. I'm just going to move my block out of the way. And then hinging my way up, like I'm opening the lid of a box, so I'm nice and tall. Let me turn this way again, because this was the original position. Good, and then just go ahead and relax the arms. Stay here with the wide legs. Now we're going to keep this formation, and we're going to do our second fold, okay? This is B. All right, let's do a little shoulder roll here. So here comes B. We're going to inhale, reach out with the arms. This exhale, we're going to bring hands to hips, like so. I'm going to turn sideways again. Now, like we did a little earlier, roll the shoulders back. Now that the hands are on the hips, you might even kind of take the hands back a little bit on the hips, and you can see how my elbows are kind of pointing to the side or the back of the room rather than the side of the room, like that. And that's what we want. Continue to try to squeeze an imaginary pencil along the spine, but maybe even imagine you're trying to hold like a big beach ball between your elbows behind you. We're going to maintain that position. Now, see my fingers here? Okay, now they're right kind of at the belt line. Now when you fold, because we are going to fold, you're going to feel your fingers move from this flat position And that's what we were paying attention to earlier when we did that slide with the hands. And it's going to create a little pocket that your fingers can tuck into. Let's try it. Shoulders back, elbows back. Inhale, tip chin up. Exhale, pull belly in, bend your knees for back safety. Slowly hinge at the hips. Okay? Those index fingers and middle fingers are going to start to sink into that little pocket. And then just pause when you're about parallel to the floor. Now we're still trying to squeeze the imaginary pencil and beach ball behind us. That's what's going to maintain the lengthened spine. Here, be mindful of your head and neck. We're not tipping the head up. We're not looking down. We're not looking between the knees. We're looking directly down at the floor. Just being sure the neck is in the same alignment as the rest of the spine, forming this nice tabletop position. Now, if you can and want to, maybe hinge or fold a little deeper, but you're still maintaining the extended spine, which you may want to feel as if you're trying to push your hips back to the wall behind you. Your fingers are kind of trapped in that little pocket, and the crown of your head is going forward. Now we're going to inhale, hinge our way back up like we're opening the lid of a box. I'm going to turn this way again, back to our original position. Free the hands, take the arms back out to your side. Good. Now turn your right foot forward like so. Bend the knee, just returning to the original warrior two. We're finished with this side. Let's drop this left hand and bring it around to the front and even face forward like this. So your arms are facing forward. Flip the palms up and then fold. Hands down to the floor. Press into the floor. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Keep pushing firmly into the ground. Slide right foot back. Plank pose. Yes. Bend the knees. Send your hips into the air. Downward facing dog. Let's get set up for the other side. Now, part of this I might be facing away from you. Let's set it up by stepping the right foot to center on the mat. Pick up left foot and inhale and extend the left leg back behind you. Exhale, bend left knee, send the knee forward as best as you can, setting the foot down somewhere behind the left wrist, or use that other transition like we did earlier. Right heel turns to the floor. Make sure the whole foot is on the floor. I'm stepping the hands back. That will ensure that security of the foot on the ground. Left knee and toes are pointing forward. Crawl up the leg, nice and tall. Once you're tall, inhale, take both arms straight up. Exhale, turning to the right side of the room, arms come down to parallel. Make sure left knee and toes are pointing forward. I'm going to adjust that back leg. There's our warrior two. Alrighty, now straighten the left leg and turn the toes to the right side of the room. So again, you're probably facing sideways. I'm facing away from you, but there should be a block on that side of your mat, hopefully. Okay, now here is the third version. Inhale, reach out with your arms. Exhale, bring your arms down behind you. Now, we did this earlier with the legs together. Now they're apart. You can reach out like this, or if you're able, interlace your fingers, like so. It's okay if the elbows need to bend. Otherwise, send your knuckles down towards the floor. And then, I'm going to turn sideways this way now. Roll the shoulders back, squeeze shoulder blades together, squeeze the imaginary pencil. Now, pay attention and work with me as we get into this third version of our wide-legged forward fold. Here we go. Inhale, tip the chin up a little bit. Exhale, pull belly in, bend your knees, slowly fold. Slowly. We'll pause here about 45 degrees, making sure neck is long. You're not looking up, you're not looking down. Head is neutral. As you're able, come down to parallel. You're reaching through your knuckles to the back wall, or they might even be resting on your back body, or free the hands if you need to. But your hips feel like they're moving back. Crown forward, gaze straight down. If you're able, go lower. But we sometimes have the tendency to drop the head and look between the legs. So stay where you are, and if you can, look at me. So if my head is dropped like so, and I came to standing, this is where my head would be, okay? We want to keep this formation of the head and neck, even in that forward fold. So let me catch up with you here. So if your head is tucked down, lift the head a little bit to lengthen the neck, but it also extends the spine. And it might even allow the folded fingers to reach more over your head, because you're not binding the upper back area and neck by tipping the chin towards chest. This is pretty deep as far as the arms and shoulders, but you can always bring them lower, but extend the spine. All right, we're going to lean back into the heels, extend the spine. Let's open the lid of the box. That's some strong leg work here. As we come back up nice and tall, re-extend the arms out to the side. We have one more to do. Fourth version, or D. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, we're bringing hands to hips again, but they're not going to be there for long. Alrighty. You're going to roll the shoulders back a little bit. Inhale, tip your chin up. Exhale, pull belly in, bend your knees. Start to fold. Now your fingers are going to tuck right into that pocket again. Send your hips back. See how the spine is staying straight? But when we're about here, about 45 degrees, free your hands. Take the fingers out of the pockets. Make peace fingers like this. Keep folding. If you're able, lift your toes, because you're going to take those peace fingers and hook them around your big toes if you can reach. If you can't reach your big toes, hold on to the backs of your legs. I'm going to hook my toes. Once I'm down, I'm going to inhale and try to extend the spine and go forward. You can stay like this, or exhale, go a little deeper, just folding. Same thing. Be aware of the head drop. Lift the head a little bit to lengthen. Now that does mean the neck is somewhat engaged. Notice, feel all that is happening in the body. So much is happening. Yes, this is a wide-legged forward fold, so a lot of focus on the legs today. But we've incorporated some hip work, spinal extending, shoulders. All right, let's lean back into the heels. Free up the fingers. Extend the arms out as we lift up partially there. Keep driving the feet into the floor as we hinge up. We're back here again. Our star shape. We're going to spin the left foot forward, lunging into our warrior two. Back to our original posture. Let's drop the right hand, bring it forward to face forward, flip the palms up, fold here, bring hands to the floor, rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Push firmly into the floor with the hands. Slide left foot back, plank pose. Pause. Take a breath. And then bring knees to the floor. Sit back briefly in hero, getting off the hands. Sit off to the side. Swing the legs around to the front. Even scoot forward, sitting in the center of your mat. Go ahead and roll down onto your back. Bring the knees with you. We've made it to our closing sequence, having moved through all those postures, highlighting those 4 forward folds, Prasarita, Paddottanasana. Ready now to come to completion. We're going to finish with a couple of extra poses while we're lying down. We'll start with the hip opener. So you might want to lightly flex your feet, take the knees and legs wide, and just hold here. Nice stretch for the inner thighs. Just a light stretch because of our hip work today, even though there wasn't a whole lot of hip work, but since that's where the legs are connected, our hips are certainly involved. And we're able to stretch and open the hip flexors as well as the inner legs. Let's bring the knees together here, and we'll take a twist. Let's start by taking the knees over to the left side while the right arm extends out to the right side. So just adding a little twist. This also affects the hips,
your core, and even the shoulder of this right arm perhaps. And just kind of soften and relax into the pose. Take a moment here, return to stillness, the feeling and the sound of your breath, coming to the close of our practice. And if you begin to think of anything, maybe just think about the practice rather than what you're going to do after the practice. Our hip work, our core work, we opened the shoulders, worked our legs. Let's take 2 more breaths here on this first twist. And we'll slowly come back up to center. Pause here at center so the spine can realign. And then the knees can come over to the right and left arm extends to the left. And of course we worked our spine. That's just part of our core system. That spinal column, nice good lengthening of the spine. We rounded the spine a bit. And now we're twisting the spine just for a little relief. Good undulation of the spine in that cat-cow flow that we like to do. So again, just kind of contemplating, thinking about the various poses you did in this soft flow class. 2 more breaths. And then when you're ready, let's come back up to center. Finishing here, we'll set the feet onto the floor. Feel the body fully release and relax. Now you can stay here for your relaxation or extend the legs out front completely with your arms resting down by your side. Feel free to have something soft underneath you. That could be a pillow or blanket. And since I have my bolster here, I might as well use it. I'm going to take my bolster or just a big pillow if you have one and just take it underneath the legs, under the knees, just in case you need to keep the knees slightly bent while you're lying flat on the ground. And if you need something soft for your head, maybe a pillow or a blanket here. And wherever you are, just be sure to find that incredible ease in the body. Take a few deep breaths. With each exhale, sigh. Feel the body melt. And hold here. Your eyes can remain open and just gaze upward beyond the ceiling, or close your eyes and take this meditative journey inward. Feel free to stay here as long as you'd like, especially if you feel very relaxed. We did quite a bit. There was a lot of leg engagement. So if you want to continue here in Shavasana for a little bit longer, please do. Even as I end the practice, feel free to stay right here. And when you are ready to move, take your time. Move very slowly. You might roll to one side. Gently press yourself up to seated. Come to a comfortable seat. You might sit on your blanket or a pillow or a towel. You can cross your legs and sit up as tall as you can. Nicely extended spine. Maybe a nice circle of the shoulders, and then let them relax. Your arms are relaxed, hands are in your lap or on your knees. Take a breath. Then one last movement together. Inhale, extend your arms out and up. As you exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Take one last breath. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson.
To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.